Okay, for this video, I'm going to explain international trade, all the curves, and how to determine consumer surplus and producer surplus, and all other things that need to be known in international trade. So we're going to start out by drawing our first two curves, which is simply supply, demand. This is something we see very often and within all of our units. Next, we can see right here, I'm going to change colors to make it easier, but this is equilibrium right here. We know this, something we've all learned already. And we can label this as price and quantity. This is all stuff that we already know. It's pretty basic. Now comes in the new stuff. We're going to start by labeling our third curve, our world price. This right here, I'm going to say WP for world price. So if we look right here, this original supply curve is the supply domestically, and the world price curve would be the world supply. So the quantity supplied domestically would be right here. And then the quantity demanded domestically would be right here. Because this is our world supply, the world supply goes all the way to here. So that's how much is demanded domestically. Now with this world price slash supply curve, we can meet the demand domestically through trade, or in better terms, imports. So what this means for consumer surplus is that all of these people are experiencing producer surplus, and therefore producer surplus increases significantly because these people are paying, they would be willing to pay higher than what they're actually paying at the world price slash supply. And this should be CS, my bad. Now, producer surplus would experience a significant decrease as the producers who are willing to sell for less than the world price are only here. Now, this process of international trade is the exact reason why we have lobbying firms today. Producers don't want to be at such a loss in terms of producer surplus. They want to be at a little more of a gain. So they want lobbyists to increase tariffs on the goods they're selling. So to that effect, we are going to talk about tariffs, which is essentially a tax on the world price. As you can see here, shifts it up. Now under the tariff, we can use a very similar process as before when graphing it out. So we can see right here, the new quantity supply demanded or domestic would be here. It would increase, and the quantity demanded domestic would decrease. And this is exactly what the firms want when they ask for a tariff. They want the supply to increase a little bit more and the demand to decrease. Now, consumer surplus would naturally decrease. As you can see, the tariff brings the curve up a little bit, and you can see that this consumer surplus would be right about here. And this makes sense because the quantity demanded domestically of the good decreased overall due to an increase in price. But on the other hand, producer surplus does increase, which is the goal of the tariff for the producers so that their surplus can increase. And again, for the same reason, this makes sense because the quantity supplied domestically does go up due to the tariff. But now that the government has intervened, there are different concepts that we need to touch upon, such as tax revenue. And the tax revenue can be found in this box right here, as it is the increase of the tax, the amount of tax that was put on the world price, and then and that's multiplied by the new imports. And the last thing to talk about would be deadweight loss because the tariff did take people out of the market, specifically these people. So these places right here, these pockets, would be deadweight loss. And that's pretty much all I have. This is how you graph international trade and understand it in terms of government intervention. Loss.